So today I'm going to talk about magnetic frustration and its important effects in magnetic properties. Probably the term magnetic frustration is quite new for most of you people because we are not studying about this in our undergraduate or postgraduate levels. But as I mentioned in the title itself, magnetic frustration is a property which is something related to the geometry of the lattice. So that means when magnetism meets geometry. So this is the outline of my talk. Initially, I will give a small basic introduction about the various magnetic ordered states that we all know. And after that, I can explain how we can suppress the magnetic ordering, where I will introduce some new terms for you: low dimensionality, magnetic frustration, and quantum spin leakage. I will briefly explain all this concept to you. After that, I will briefly discuss about one of my recent work, sodium ytterbium chalcogenide, which is a newly discovered quantum spin leakage compound. And this is a collaborative work of my old institute, previous institute, Max Planck Institute of Chemical Science, Physics of Solids at Dresden, Germany, and the Technical University of Dresden. So here I will discuss the quantum spin leakage ground state of this compound and instability of the state once we apply high magnetic fields. As a result, we will get some nice field and temperature phase diagram. And after that, I will conclude my talk. Okay, so I will start with the very basic things that most of you are very familiar with in magnetism. The magnetism in a material can be explained well by the famous Heisenberg Hamiltonian, where H is equal to J into summation SI dot Sj, where Si and Sj are the spin operators at ith and jth side, and J is the exchange interaction between these spins. So depending upon the sign of J, this have either ferromagnetic or antiferromagnetic interaction. So the second term represent any other, if there any other spin interactions are present, like some anisotropic interactions, for example, Delitzsch-Moria interactions or any other anisotropic interactions. So this is the well-known equation to describe the magnetism in materials. We all know that there are several types of magnetic materials. Most of them are either paramagnetic or undergoes some magnetic ordering state below certain temperatures. So the basic thing, maybe we all are familiar with this. Like in a paramagnetic state, all the spins are aligned, randomly oriented without any preferred orientation. They are thermally fluctuated. And if you look at the magnetic susceptibility, you can see that it follows a nice Curie equation. That means your susceptibility is inversely proportional to the temperature. On the other hand, in ferromagnetic or antiferromagnetic case, the high temperature behavior is quite similar. Like you have a paramagnetic state at a high temperature, but once you reach a certain temperature called ordering temperature, below this temperature, the spins are oriented along particular directions. For a ferromagnetic case, you know that the nearest neighbors are parallel to each other. And in the case of antiferromagnet, the nearest neighbors are anti-parallel to each other. So if you look at the magnetic susceptibility, you can see that there is a sharp peak at this transition temperature. And below this transition temperature, the spins will be anti-parallel to each other. These kind of states like ferromagnetic or anti-ferromagnetic or ferrimagnetic, whatever ordered state, we are calling as a magnetic LRO, that means magnetic long range order. So that means you have a strong correlation between two spins, even if it is very far. Like if you know in case of ferromagnet, if you know the spin configuration of this spin, you can calculate the spin configuration of any other spin, even if it is infinitely distant. Similarly, for the antiferromagnet also, you can get if you know the spin configuration of this spin, you will get the idea of any other spin. So that is called magnetic long range order. Well, these all are very basic things and in a classical point of view. And these are well studied states. Like high temperature, you have a paramagnetic state, and below certain temperature, either ferromagnetic or antiferromagnetic or ferrimagnetic, whatever some ordered stage. So these all are well studied, and there is nothing new for a researcher. But the interesting thing is, what will happen if we suppress this kind of magnetic order? Instead of having some well-defined antiferromagnetic or ferromagnetic order, one would get some unexpected ground states, unexpected quantum phases. The condensed matter community, research community, is quite interested in this kind of phenomena because you are expecting some low temperature, non-trivial properties or some exotic ground states. I'm going to talk about this kind of situation here. So the question is, how can we suppress this magnetic order? So there are different ways to do that. Either by introducing low spin values or low dimensionality and magnetic frustration. All these things enhances the quantum fluctuations and suppresses the magnetic long range order, and which results some exotic quantum phases or low temperature, interesting low temperature properties. So these properties are quite interested for a condensed matter research scholar. Okay, the first one is low spin values. The low spin values means the spin quantum number is either spin half or 1, mainly spin half. In order to do that, you need to consider some 3D elements in the periodic table like copper 2 plus or vanadium 4 plus, because all these elements, ions, have only one unpaired electron, so which results S is equal to spin is equal to half. So there are different ions with spin S is equal to half. And second class is an effective spin half. Here the actual spin quantum number is not half, but due to some other effects like spin orbit coupling or crystal electric field splitting, you will get an effective spin half state as a ground state. For example, cobalt 2 plus. So, as you know, cobalt 2 plus is a spin 3/2 ion, but in some conditions, this have a low spin values like S is equal to, or not S is equal to, effective spin equal to half. Similarly, if you consider some 5D or 4F electrons like iridium or ytterbium, because of the strong spin orbit coupling, you will get an effective spin half state here. So by introducing this kind of very low spin values, particularly the spin half state, you can suppress the magnetic long range order, because the quantum effects are more if you reduce the spin values. If you increase the spin values, like if you go for higher spin like 3 S is equal to 3 or 4 or 7/2 or something, you will have a more classical tendency to order or to get the normal antiferromagnetic or ferromagnetic case. So to avoid that, we need to consider about very low spin values, particularly S is equal to half. Okay. So the next thing is low dimensionality. This is probably a new term for most of you. I can just start with a three-dimensional system. So we all know that the normal antiferromagnetic case, this is a two sublattice model. One sublattice is a spin up and other sublattice is spin down. So this is called a normal three-dimensional system, because you can see that this spin, any spin of this arrangement is coupled very strongly to all the three directions. So this is a normal three-dimensional models. But there are some systems which is very different from this 3D. That is called low-dimensional spin systems. We are called one-dimensional or two-dimensional. Here we are talking that how the magnetic ions are arranged in a system. Normally, a bulk crystal or bulk sample is always a 3D system. But here we are talking in the sense of how the spins are or how the magnetic ions are arranged in the system. For example, it's a one-dimensional 1D system. Here, the magnetic interaction is very strong in one direction and weak in the other two directions. So that is called 1D spin system. So it's called one-dimensional spin chains, because you can see that this is looks like a chain of spins. Similarly, in two-dimensional spin system, the magnetic interactions are very strong in two directions, this direction and this direction. And the third direction, the magnetic interaction is very weak compared to these two directions. So that means you will have a plane of spins, and these planes are weakly interacted to the next plane. So in that case, you are talking about a two-dimensional planes. For example, a two-dimensional square lattices. I will come to more detail about this. Also, there are some another classes like one-dimensional, two-dimensional crossover is called spin ladders. As you see here, it looks like a ladder. This is not a purely one-dimensional or purely two-dimensional. So here you have the magnetic interaction is strong in the legs and rungs of this ladder. And between this, the interaction between this ladder and another ladder will be weak, so that this is considered as a spin ladder. So all these things like one-dimensional spin chain, two-dimensional square lattices, and spin ladders, altogether they are called low-dimensional spin systems. And they are very different from the three-dimensional normal spin systems. According to Mermin-Wagner theorem, these one-dimensional or two-dimensional spin Heisenberg systems cannot have magnetic long-range order. So this is an ideal candidate to look for some interesting low temperature properties. On the other hand, if you want to look for a ordered state, there should be some three-dimensional coupling between the spins. Okay. And the third one is magnetic frustration. We can define magnetic frustration as an inability of a system to satisfy all pairwise interactions simultaneously. This is a quite a new term for you. Okay, let's consider a very simple example. If you have three spins and situated on a triangle, if the spins are ferromagnetic interacted, you don't have any problem because all the spins can align parallel to each other and you will get some stabilized magnetic order. But consider three spins which are interacted antiferromagnetically on a triangle. So you can see that the third spin cannot antiparallel with these two spins at the same time. If the third spin is antiparallel to the first one, it cannot antiparallel to the second one. And if this is antiparallel to the second one, it cannot antiparallel to first one. So that means this cannot satisfy the antiferromagnetic interaction with these two cases simultaneously. So this inability of a system is called magnetic frustration. So the system failed to undergoes any stabilized order. So here you can see that the magnetic frustration arises due to the triangular geometry of the lattice. So that is called geometrical frustration. On the other hand, the magnetic frustration can be of different arises due to some other reasons. Just consider a square lattices with antiferromagnetic spins. If you have a nearest neighbor interaction J1, that means H is equal to J1 Si dot Sj. Just consider the first time alone. So there is no problem. This is not a frustrated one. All the spins are aligned anti-parallel to each other. But if you introduce a second time, like the next nearest neighbor J2 between I and K, first spin and third spin, along the diagonal, the J2 is a next nearest neighbor interaction along the diagonal of the square lattice, you can see that the system will be frustrated. So this spin cannot make antiferromagnetic interaction between this guy and this guy. So here the magnetic frustration arises due to the competing interactions. That means the magnetic frustration can be either geometrical frustration or due to competing interactions. Okay, so in all these cases, the ground state of the system will be highly degenerate. That means if you consider a normal spin, it has two states, either up or down. But in this case, the spins can go to these different six states, like either up, up, down, or up, down, up, and like different combination of the spin state. So that means this system will be highly fluctuated in between these six stages to stabilize, to minimize the energy. So that means that it cannot get a stabilized order, and the magnetic long range order will be suppressed. So it will enhances the quantum fluctuation because spins are constantly fluctuating. So as a result, instead of well stabilized ferromagnetic or antiferromagnetic order, one would get some novel spin disordered ground state. For example, spin liquid or spin ice or non-collinear magnetic structures, and there are different other quantum phases. So the researchers are more interested to look for this kind of unexpected and interested ground states, and all these states has to be investigated properly. Okay, so the next question is how we can understand the system is frustrated or not. Experimentally, the magnetic susceptibility is considered as a fingerprint of magnetic frustration. So if you plot the 1 by chi is the magnetic susceptibility, it follows the Curie-Weiss law at high temperature. Chi is equal to C by T plus theta. And here, okay, if you have a antiferromagnetic interaction, you will get a minus theta. And if you have a ferromagnetic, you will get a positive theta. In this case, we can define a frustration parameter, which is a measure of magnetic frustration, how much frustrated is the system. F is equal to theta by Tn. This is the ratio of your Curie-Weiss temperature and the transition temperature. So for a normal antiferromagnet, it should be nearly equal to 1, because your theta and Tn is almost the same for a normal antiferromagnetic case. But if the system is frustrated, you will get a large theta value compared to Tn. So that means your F is greater than 1. If you get F greater than 5 or more, you can say that the system is highly frustrated. Okay. So there are different lattices available in the condensed matter world which are highly frustrated. As I discussed in the earlier, we need some triangular motif for a geometrical frustration. So the best example for a highly frustrated lattice is triangular lattice. Here you can see that the triangles are edge shaded to form a two-dimensional network of triangles. So for example, this is a well-known example for this kind of system, cesium copper bromide. So here, all these triangles are edge-shaded and forms a layer of triangles, and then this layer is well separated from the next layer. So that means it is a two-dimensional case. And another one is called kagome lattice. Kagome, this word basically came from a Japanese basket. So here the triangles are corner shade. Here it is edge shade and here it is corner shade. You can see that the corner shade triangles arranged in a nice kagome lattice form. And this is also a two-dimensional system where the next kagome layer is well separated. So compared to the triangle lattice, this kagome lattice is more frustrated because here you can see that if you consider triangle lattice, you have a 6 nearest neighbors. If you consider this atom, you have a 6 nearest neighbor connectivity. But in case of kagome, you can see that there are only 4. So the connectivity is less in the kagome lattice. So the quantum fluctuations are more with less connectivity. Okay, so this is a well-known example. This is called herbesmithite. This is a natural mineral which has a kagome layered structure with the copper ions in each point. Okay, so this is a case of two-dimensional systems. If you go to three-dimensional, the best example for a three-dimensional frustrated system is called pyrochlore lattice. Here, you can see that the corner shaded tetrahedras forming a frustrated lattices. And another example is hyperkagome. This is nothing but a three-dimensional analog of kagome lattice. So the well-known example is sodium iodide. So there are different lattices also shows magnetic frustration, but these are typically known as highly frustrated lattices. So these guys, they are acting as a nice tool for interesting quantum properties. Okay. So we know that in a frustrated magnets, the system will not undergo the magnetic ordering case. Instead of having a well-known antiferromagnetic or ferromagnetic case, you will get a different spin disordered ground shades. The most interesting ground shade of frustrated magnets are called quantum spin liquid. You can say it's QSL. So here, this is a highly entangled phase of matter where the spins are interact very strongly between each other, but they fail to order even at 0 Kelvin. This is a very unusual case because usually for a normal material, if you go below certain temperature, the most of the material will undergo some magnetic ordered states like antiferromagnetic or ferromagnet. But here, the spins are very strongly interact each other, but it cannot order even at 0 Kelvin. Since it is not ordered, there is no symmetry breaking present here. So here the spins are constantly fluctuating even at a very low temperature. You can say at 0 Kelvin, the spins are fluctuating, and you can see a liquid-like behavior. That means it prevents any kind of freezing even at a very low temperature. So this is a most interesting ground state of frustrated magnets. And you can say this is one of the biggest dream for a material physicist to find an experimental realization for quantum spin liquid state. And this was initially proposed by Philip Anderson in 1973. That means this is not a new idea. So he proposed for a spin half triangular lattice compound, the ground state will be a resonating valence bond state. This is nothing, RVB state is nothing but a kind of quantum spin liquid state. Okay, if you recall our famous diagram for the frustration, that is 3 spins on a triangle, here you can see one these two spins, they aligned antiferromagnetically, and the third spin still cannot understand where to go. And these guys, they form a spin singlet to minimize the energy. The quantum spin liquid is nothing but a superposition of these collective singlets, and which this singlet will change their singlet partner constantly. So you can see that initially these two guys forms a singlet, and then next moment it changed the singlet partner to another. So the spin liquid state is a collective superposition of all this. This is for a triangular lattice. Similarly, for a Kagome lattice, also you can see that it can change the singlet pairs constantly. So as a result, your spins are fluctuating and they fail to order align in a particular orientation. So there is no normal magnetic order. Instead, you have a highly fluctuating ground state, but these spins are very correlated, and that is called quantum spin liquid. Even though the idea, the quantum spin liquid was theoretically proposed in 1973, there was no experimental example for such systems. After decades of searching, now you can see that several promising examples, promising candidates are emerging now. You can say this is not a perfect quantum spin liquid. There can be more quantum spin liquid candidates. Okay. So these are the very famous example for experimental quantum spin liquid candidates. This is this is organic salt with copper based organic salt. This name is quite complicated. And you can see this is a triangular lattice where the spins are arranged on a triangular lattice. And another one is called Hebersmithite. This is a Kagome lattice system. Here the copper spins are arranged in a Kagome layers, and these Kagome layers are well separated by some other ions. So this is a perfect 2D system, Kagome system. And they are far apart. But the main problem of this compound is that it has some side shading of zinc and copper. There is a zinc and there is a copper. So their site occupancy is there. So there is some intrinsic disorder. So you can always confuse with the disorder effect and quantum spin liquid effect, because both these phases will give you some similar result in at least some measurements. Okay, so the recently ytterbium based systems, spin systems, are getting more and more attention because the combination of very strong spin orbit coupling, because this is a 4f electron, you have very strong spin orbit coupling, and anisotropic exchange. This is a property of 4f electrons. And if you have, in addition to these two, if you have a frustrated lattice geometry, so this combination is a good combination to give a quantum spin liquid ground state. So that's why recently ytterbium based systems, basically ytterbium based frustrated systems, are getting more and more attention to the research field. So you know that ytterbium 3+ is a 4 of 13 element. In this case, you have a 14-fold degeneracy, but you have spin orbit coupling and crystal electric field splitting. So apparently you will get finally you will get this degeneracy lifted to 4 Kramer's doublet. And this is the ground state and first excited state and second excited state solved. So there is an energy gap between the ground state and the first excited state. It's called delta. So if you have the delta is very large enough, that means you don't have any contribution in the first excited state to the ground state. That means the order of 100 Kelvin or something. So then you can say that this is a effective spin half state. So one of the important compound in this family is ytterbium magnesium gallium 4. This is a recently this compound get a lot of attention to the condensed matter community because this is a first ytterbium based triangular lattice condensed mineral liquid candidate. So there are a lot of studies going on this compound. They have a triangular layers of ytterbium, but in this compound there is a chance for disorder because the magnesium and gallium, you can see there is a magnesium and gallium. So in some position they are occupying the same site, which gives some intrinsic disorder. So the exact ground state of this compound is under debate because of the disorder you can mimic the condensed mineral liquid properties. So in order to understand the real nature of a condensed mineral liquid or to study the ground state, you need a clean system or without any disorder. So here is the importance of our new discovery of family of compound sodium ytterbium chalcogenide. This chalcogenide means either oxygen, sulfur, or selenium. So this is a system. You can see that this is a very simple system, only 3 ions, 3 elements, and which is found that there is no inherent disorder. That means you can say this is a disorder-free system. So I will talk about one of this compound, sodium ytterbium selenide. And all this family we have published quite a lot of papers recently. For more details, you can search, you can find in these 3 papers. So you can see that we got a very nice crystals. We can synthesize the crystals of sodium ytterbium selenide even in the millimeter size crystals. So if you look at the crystal structure, the magnetic ion is ytterbium 3+. So this carrying effective spin half, and sodium and selenide is non-magnetic. So the magnetic ytterbium forms a triangular layers. Basically, this is a YbSe6 octahedra. And if you look at the connectivity of ytterbium, it forms triangular layers. And these triangular layers are well separated. That means you have a perfect 2D system. And you have an effective spin half. Since this is frustrated, we have all the 3 combinations. That means the low dimensionality, that means 2D system, effective spin half, and the frustrated lattice geometry. So all these 3 combinations give it's the best combination to get a condensed mineral liquid ground state. And the most important thing is this is there is no disorder, inherent disorder, like many other unlike many other quantum spin liquid candidates. Okay, so we need to make sure that the system is a spin half, effective spin half, because at high temperature usually the Yb3+ is spin 7/2. It will be spin half only if you have a delta. That means the energy gap between spin half ground state and the first excited state is larger enough. For that we did ESR experiment. From the ESR data we can see that the energy gap is delta is 180 Kelvin. So that means the delta, the ground state is well separated from the excited state. So therefore you can consider this as an effective spin half state. And you can see that this is highly anisotropic. This is magnetic susceptibility. This is if you put field parallel to C direction, you can see that there is minimum susceptibility, and in the AB direction you have a maximum susceptibility. That means this is a highly anisotropic system. So this is more common for a ytterbium system. So that means you have a nice combination of effective spin half, 2-dimensional triangle lattice, and frustrated lattice. So one would expect a condensed mineral liquid ground state in this system. Okay, so if you see the magnetic susceptibility, we did not see any sharp peak corresponding to magnetic long range order. That means for a normal antiferromagnetic, as I discussed in the first slide, you will get very sharp peak if it is antiferromagnetic order. But here we did not see any such peak corresponding to the magnetic long range order down to 0.05 Kelvin. Instead, you have a broad maxima around 2 Kelvin. So this kind of broad maxima is a hallmark of low dimensionality. This is called short range correlation, because the spins have a correlation, short range correlation for a particular range of temperature. They don't have any long range interaction, but some short range interaction. So this is commonly you can observe in the two-dimensional or one-dimensional spin systems. So this reflects that our system is a purely low-dimensional spin system. And if you look at the susceptibility at high temperature, below 100, okay, let's say below 100 Kelvin, you can see that there is a change of slope, or below 70 Kelvin. So that means at high temperature, ytterbium is in a J equal to 7/2 state. And then if you go very low temperature, your spin state will be changing to spin half state. So we know that the delta is 180. So you can consider that 1/3 of the delta, below 1/3 of delta, you will get an effective spin half. So that is why there is a change in slope. So you can see that this is mu effective we can calculate from the susceptibility. This is an indication of a spin half state. And from the Curie-Weiss analysis, we got theta, Curie-Weiss theta is equal to 7 Kelvin and 3.5 Kelvin in both direction. And we did not see any magnetic long range order. So you can calculate the strength of magnetic frustration here. So here it should be greater than 10. So that means the system is highly frustrated. And if you look at the heat capacity, you can see that it shows a broad feature, which is also corresponding to the low dimensional system. And the interesting thing is at very low temperature, like 0.50 millikelvin, this is the lowest possible temperature we can measure. So this is almost constant. C/T is a constant, or C is linearly proportional to the temperature. So for this indicate that the ground state is a gapless spin liquid. So there are two kinds of spin liquids. One is gapped phase and another one is gapless. For a gapless spin liquid ground state, you will expect C/T is equal to a constant. So from our magnetic susceptibility and heat capacity data, we can say that this compound has a quantum spin liquid ground state at very low temperature. But if you look at the magnetization, so this is the magnetization versus magnetic field. You can see here we go up to 25 Tesla. It's quite high field. You can see initially at up to say 3 Tesla, this is increases like more or less linear with the field. And then you have a plateau-like behavior. And then go to again increases, and then this is magnetically saturated. So for a normal antiferromagnetic case, you will expect a linear behavior and then it saturates. This kind of magnetization plateau will not be there for a normal antiferromagnet. So this behavior is quite unexpected, quite interesting here. So this indicates that your quantum spin liquid ground state is modified once you apply some external magnetic field. So in previous slide I have this is like 1 Tesla data. So that means it's a very small field. In very small field, we know that this is a quantum spin liquid, but if you apply some quite high field like 3 Tesla or more, so there is some field induced modifications. We need to understand what is that. Usually this kind of magnetization plateau is expected for a simple triangular lattice compound. So here I can see these regions are corresponding to various spin configurations. So here you can see that for different region you can have a different arrangement of spins. So this linear part for the triangular system is something like a 120-degree ordering. Or if you consider a 3 spins on triangle, so this will compromise to form a 120-degree ordering. So that is the minimum energy level. So this plateau, in this plateau region, so this is called up down state. You have a two up spin and one down spin. So this is called UUD phase, and this is quite a interesting phase in the triangular lattice compound. Then after that, this will be there for a finite range of field. You can see this is from 3 to 6 Tesla, and after that it increases again. So the spins are in the another direction. It's called a coplanar state. This is in the same plane. And finally, once you reach the saturation field, all the spins aligned along the field direction. So from this, you can see that magnetization, this compound has different spin orientation with the magnetic field. So in order to understand more about the field-induced defect, we measured the heat capacity under different field. So this is H parallel to AB direction, and this is parallel to C direction. You can see the in AB direction, like zero field, there is only a broad maxima, which is corresponding to the two-dimensionality. But if you apply some field above 3 Tesla, you can see that very sharp peak is coming. And with at 3 Tesla, you can see that. And then if you increase the field, this transition is shifting towards high temperature, and it reaches the maximum around 5.5 Tesla. So this is very sharp. And then a further increase of field, you can see that the transition temperature is going back. So this is some kind of magnetically ordered phase. But in the other direction, if you apply the field parallel to C direction, like you need to apply quite high field, something like 10 Tesla to get this kind of field behavior. So here you can see that this is going first to high temperature region, and then further increase of field reduces the transition temperature. So these all result, from all this result, we can draw a nice phase diagram for this compound. So the most interesting phase is here. So this is a field versus temperature. Field range from 0 Tesla to 10 Tesla, and then like temperature range 0 to 1.5 Kelvin. So in this phase diagram, this is the most interesting phase called quantum spin liquid. You don't like below, let's say 1 Tesla, you don't have any magnetic long range order. So you have gapless excitation that we observed from the heat capacity. So this is the quite interesting quantum spin liquid state. But if you apply a field of 2 Tesla, you are entering to a magnetic long range order, magnetically ordered state. And this ordering temperature is nicely behaves like a belly, like it shows a belly like behavior. And we have different spin configurations in the field with different field values. You have 120-degree ordering, and then up down UUD phase, and this is called 2:1 coplanar phase. And finally, above the this field, all the spins are aligned in the field direction. And in the other direction, H parallel to C direction, there is only one configuration, but you need to apply very high field, at least 9 Tesla, to get destroy the quantum spin liquid phase, and then it follows the same behavior. Okay, so this compound is quite interesting because you can see that this compound shows particularly like different phases of spin arrangement. It shows a quantum spin liquid state, which is quite interesting, and then it shows different spin configuration expected for a triangular lattice compound. So this compound is getting more and more attention, and to understand, because you can study almost all, like you can study a lot of things by changing the magnetic field. So field changing is it's very simple for experimental condensed matter world. So you can tune the field and study about the different spin configurations. So that's why this compound will be a nice model for the future study. So our future plan is to do some NMR experiments with all these along all these field with different field values. So you will get the correct ground state for the spin liquid state and also for different spin configuration for a spin half triangular lattice compound. So by this, I would like to conclude my talk. I hope I explained the concept of magnetic frustration and quantum spin liquid in very basic level. And then I just gave a small example of our recent work, which is a newly discovered quantum spin liquid candidate, sodium ytterbium selenide, which has a quantum spin liquid state at low magnetic fields, and quenching of this quantum spin liquid state at higher magnetic field with an anisotropic field induced magnetic quantum. This anisotropic means in parallel to AB direction, you need only 2 Tesla, but in the parallel to C direction, you need 9 Tesla. So that means the QSL ground state is quite anisotropic. And by this, I will conclude my talk. Thank you for your kind attention.